Hey guys, Uncommon Ramen here. March 3rd of 2018, I posted a video talking about Krosmaster and the state of the game in the US, kind of posing a scenario of what could have happened. I wanted to do a recap on that because since that video, I've gotten quite a few questions and comments regarding, I guess, the life of Krosmaster. So let's start with a quick recap of what I mentioned in the video. You can always go back to the video that I posted and check it out. It has a lot of good information there. But essentially, Krosmaster was being produced in the US by Jap Anime Games in partnership with Onkama Games. And right about the time that Krosmaster Quest was being kickstarted, or actually in the process of being shipped or getting ready to ship in the US, the speculation, or I don't want to say it's speculation because I heard from a gentleman who worked at worked with Jap Anime Games that said that Cool Mini or Not basically extended a incredible deal to Onkama Games to have them create a contract with them. And in order for Jap Anime Game, or I'm sorry, in order for Onkama Games to break the contract with Jap Anime Games, they decided to hold Krosmaster Quest shipping hostage, basically. And unless Jap Anime Games basically agreed to allow them to break the contract, they wouldn't ship the game to the US. So the people at Jap Anime Games were basically left to either not ship the game, or basically to not ship the game and piss off their backers, or to ship the game and let Onkama Games out of their contract. Obviously, ultimately, they chose to let Onkama Games out of their contract with the intention of pursuing Onkama Games in court. But what I was told was that the contract that they had with Onkama Games dictated that they had to go through a French court system, and I guess they decided that it would cost too much or something along those lines, and basically decided that they just weren't, it wasn't worth following, and kind of just let Onkama Games go without any real recourse. And maybe that wasn't such a bad idea, because it looks like Onkama Games kind of got what they deserved, because after a year of being in contract with Cool Mini or Not basically they didn't back out, but they did not renew their contract with Onkama Games, and both Cool Mini or Not and Onkama Games made a announcement on their news feeds saying that they were no longer working together. And at that point, that was kind of the eventual death of Krosmaster here in the United States. And the speculation was that Cool Mini or Not had kind of purposely, acquired the contract and purposely let the contract kind of die, simply because they were releasing a game that was similar to Krosmaster Quest, and they just didn't want the competition. And that's kind of where I left the video off that's where I left the video off last time. So the big question is, what was the killer? Because one of the things was, when I was talking about it, was that I didn't know what game it was that Cool Mini or Not was supposed to be releasing, that was supposed to be so similar to Krosmaster that it just couldn't exist side by side. And so after a few comments that I received on the first video, it became apparent that the game that was supposed to be the killer of Krosmaster was Cool Mini or Not's Arcadia Quest. So I did a lot of research on Arcadia Quest, and specifically, I decided to read the rulebook to kind of see where it had its similarities with Krosmaster. And what I had found was that Arcadia Quest had a system of heroes that is very similar to that of Krosmaster. Each hero has a dictated amount of health and defense, and they all generally have one ability that enhances their combat. The major difference here being that Krosmaster has move points and action points that you use to move, and action points that you use to allocate which abilities you want to do, whereas in this particular case, these characters' abilities, what they use is going to be based on the equipment that they're carrying. And every hero has a default movement of 3. So that's the major difference between the heroes. In Arcadia Quest, you will have 3 heroes that you choose from a pool of, in the core game, 37 heroes, or that's what I think I read correctly. You will choose 3 heroes to basically hedge your guild. And how you choose those heroes is kind of in your first couple of games, they suggest you just choose 3 heroes, but as you get more familiar, there's actually a draft system. Unlike Krosmaster, where you pick up coins on the map and then you spend those coins at places where the demonic rewards are available to get abilities and equipment on the fly. Arcadia Quest has you purchase items at the end of each scenario. So in Krosmaster, we have your heroes line up on a board, and they battle and they receive their upgrades real time during the game. And in Arcadia Quest, the winner is determined after 3 games happen, and after each scenario. So each game is a scenario. The characters will have a chance to upgrade their abilities and their character. So, obviously, there are slight differences there with upgrades and character selection and movement and so on and so forth. And one other major thing that was different about Arcadia Quest was that the characters, when a character dies, they'll receive a token that indicates that they have died, but they can be resurrected throughout the course of the game. With the only downfall being that after the game is over, each of the characters who died will receive a death curse equal to the number of death tokens they have, and then the player chooses the death curse with the highest value, and their character will permanently receive that curse for the entire next scenario. So it penalizes death. Well, actually, it doesn't necessarily. Well, it does penalize death, but it also penalizes multiple deaths. Whereas in Krosmaster, once your Krosmaster was knocked out, he's off the board forever. The other major similarity that I found was that Arcadia Quest also had blisters for heroes that contained I think it was 1 to 2 new heroes per blister that you can add to the game. And then beyond that, there really isn't any similarities. There is a dice rolling system for attack and defense, and after that, it kind of changes into a completely different game. So the next part of the research went into trying to figure out, does the game have a competitive scene? And it really doesn't. No matter where I searched, I could not find anything for organized play. I could not find anything for tournament play. I could not find anything for just in general competitive play that was in part due to Cool Mini or Not. In 2014, on Cool Mini or Not's actual official forums, there was a poster who asked a question about organized play that was largely ignored, with a single comment from a person that wasn't part of Cool Mini or Not's company. So it literally went ignored by Cool Mini or Not. And in 2016, on an unrelated forum, there was a poster that claimed that Cool Mini or Not was looking into tournament play and organized play kits for Arcadia Quest, but there were no sources cited for that claim. When I checked the Cool Mini or Not news feed, the last update that Cool Mini or Not had for Arcadia Quest was in 2018, specifically on May 21st, and didn't have anything about organized play or tournament play or anything. And then if you dig back as far as March 16th of 2018, there is a article about competitive structures which talks about Arcadia Quest but does not have any information about any kind of tournament play or competitive scene at all. And after that, there's nothing about Arcadia Quest. There is information about their new game Starcadia Quest, which is a space version of Arcadia Quest that I guess is coming out soon. But since Arcadia Quest has been out in the public, it has not had any kind of organized play / tournament play at all. So Cool Mini or Not went out of their way to assassinate a game that had a healthy competitive scene and healthy tournament play and healthy organized play incentives because it was too similar to Arcadia Quest, and then never pursued any kind of scene that was similar for Arcadia Quest. And that just doesn't make any sense. But we are now in November of 2019, and Oncoma Games is releasing Krosmaster Blast, which was on a Kickstarter, I believe last year, and it was successfully funded. And Krosmaster Blast is kind of a smaller, streamlined version of Krosmaster 1.0 and 2.0, where it makes it a little bit easier and a little bit more accessible for people to get into the game and play it. But one of the things that's really exciting about Krosmaster Quest is that it has it includes Krosmaster 1.0, 2.0 cards for each of the characters in Krosmaster Blast. So not only do they have their Krosmaster Blast cards, but they also have cards that you can use if you want to play Krosmaster original, basically. And even more exciting than that is that there are rules that will allow you to modify the existing Krosmaster characters that you have so that they can be compatible with Krosmaster Blast. But even before that was the case, Oncoma Games released a game called Boof Ball, or Boof Bowl, which was a game that was about their version in Krosmaster of soccer / rugby / football. The point is that they had Krosmaster like figures in it, and the figures not only are compatible with Boofball, but have Krosmaster compatible cards in there so that you can use them in your Krosmaster games. So Oncoma Games has been trying to keep their products kind of compatible with each other. So the question is, has Krosmaster died in the US? And if you had asked me this 2 years ago, I would have said yes, absolutely. Krosmaster is dead in the US. However, since my first video about Krosmaster, this was back when Cemetery Park was out, and that was a joint effort between Cool Mini or Not and Oncoma Games. It was short printed, it was absurdly expensive, but it was available in English. They have had 2 other seasons, season 5, which was Wild Realms, and season 6, which is Brotherhood of the Forgotten, both of which had short printings in English from the Oncoma website, and are available in English for an absurd price, in the secondary market. They also are releasing the Gloom Grove blisters, which are going to be compatible with Krosmaster Blast, but will also contain cards that will make them compatible for Krosmaster Original. So there was still English printings of each of these sets, just no organized play or competitive play in the United States, which is kind of the opposite of how it was in France, because they still have their competitive and tournament scene for the game. Do I think that Krosmaster Blast is going to bring that scene back to the US? My fingers are crossed that yes, that is the case. I really do want to see it come back. And if Krosmaster Blast is the way for it to happen, that is perfectly welcome by me. Krosmaster Blast does seem to be the next step in Krosmaster's evolution. It is supposed to be slated to replace Krosmaster's system so that there's a more streamlined competitive play. But if you were still interested in the other figures that were available, you can find them for far more than they are worth on eBay. Speaking of eBay, though, Oncoma Games still has a lot of promos available, such as this guy right here, the Nemesis Samurai, that if you check on eBay is going for sometimes as close to $35. Same with his counterpart, Cardboard Tube Samurai, both of which are available on the Oncoma Games website. And I know I said this in the previous video as well, because people are paying way too much for it on eBay. Just go to Oncoma Games. I have a cart open right now with 5 figures in it, and they come out to like $25 plus $17 in shipping. No joke. To the US, $17 in shipping. So it comes out to like $47 for the 5 figures. But that's still cheaper per figure than paying $35 for a single figure on eBay that is being claimed as super rare when it's actually available on Oncoma's website for not $35, basically. But that's it. State of the game, I would say it's not necessarily dead. It just seems that way. Maybe it's dormant and sleeping, but don't give up on it, I guess. I had given up on it, but I have newfound hope, and I really do hope that this Krosmaster Blast does take off and really creates a new competitive scene out here in the US, and maybe Oncoma Games will learn their lesson and not burn their bridges with companies that were actually really helping them out, and not take, I guess, bait from companies like Cool Mini or Not, who seem to be relatively abusive of the board gaming community. That being said, folks, that is all the news I have. So if you liked the video, please like and subscribe. And until next time, guys, peace.